From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight on the MTN 530 News, a favorite Magic City event will return this summer after it led the list of pandemic cancellations last year. We'll have the details. Plus, Montana's U.S. Republican senator hits the road across eastern Montana in a quest to save the Keystone XL pipeline. But first, Montana's COVID-19 vaccine shipments are on the rise as the state gears up to open eligibility for all Montanans 16 and older. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us on your Wednesday. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Well, that news announced this afternoon by Montana Governor Greg Gianforte, who says the state will receive more than 40,000 first doses next week to go along with 25,000 second doses. Now, Gianforte says that federal allocation is up by about 15,000 doses from last week. Earlier this month, Gianforte directed everyone 16 and up would be eligible for the vaccine starting April 1st. State leaders say most providers are ready to meet that new demand, though they say there will still not be enough supply for everyone to get the vaccine immediately. Gianforte also announced he'll receive his own first vaccine dose tomorrow.
Getting the vaccine will help us get back to a normal life. These vaccines are saving lives, minimizing hospitalizations, and slowing the spread of the virus. We've seen that in the data.
The Unified Health Command here in Yellowstone County began vaccinating everyone 16 and older last week. Now, you can find out how and where you can get vaccinated in your community at ktvq.com. As for numbers across the state, Montana reports 211 new COVID-19 cases today, pushing the state's total case count to nearly 105,000. The death toll remains at 1,443 tonight, while well over 102,000 people have recovered from the virus. Well, one of Billings' most beloved summer events is back on. The Strawberry Festival was canceled last year amid the COVID-19 pandemic, but now we can ease your concerns that the festival would not return. Although the streets are usually packed with people, this year you will notice more spacing between vendors. Also, hand washing stations will be set up throughout the festival area with the most up-to-date CDC recommendations. Now, that event is slated for July 10th.
The Strawberry Festival has been a community favorite for 30 years. This is its 30th year, and so obviously that weighs heavy in when you're deciding on what events you really want to bring back and put a lot of effort into. And so after a whole year of no events, we of course want to see people downtown and enjoying the community.
Now, while it's exciting that the Strawberry Festival is coming back, we just need to give you a heads up that one of the biggest attractions, that 60-foot-long strawberry shortcake, will not be back this year. Well, today, marijuana business owners laid out concerns they have with a proposed bill that would reshape Montana's marijuana laws before legal recreational sales even begin. But many say they're willing to reconsider if there are changes. The House Business and Labor Committee held a lengthy hearing today on House Bill 701. Now, that bill, sponsored by Republican Representative Mike Hopkins of Missoula, is one of the major marijuana reform bills under consideration. The bill would require local governments to opt in to allow recreational marijuana businesses before one could open. Now, it would also redirect tax revenue to the Heart Fund, Governor Greg Gianforte's proposed account for substance abuse and mental health treatment. Many of those testifying say some of the bill's provisions would harm small marijuana businesses, and they are opposed to the opt-in requirement.
We carried this industry and founded it and helped develop the regulations and worked with the inspectors to develop these standards. Don't just invalidate all our hard work and throw us locals to the side and let big money come in.
Whereas initiative folks are out there to pass an initiative, the 150 people here in this building are here to represent the entirety of the state of Montana. And that includes folks that are in favor, not in favor, voted for it, didn't vote for it.
Now, the committee held hearings on 2 other marijuana reform bills yesterday. They are expected to take action on those bills next week. Well, this week, Montana's U.S. Senator Steve Daines is touring eastern Montana. He's keeping his fight alive for what he says are high-paying jobs that the Keystone XL pipeline will bring. But first, he sat down with Q2's Andrea Lutz.
You know, those are, I'll call them East Coast liberal elites that have not spent time with law enforcement like I have.
Senator Steve Daines is not mincing words, talking explicitly about why drug trafficking from the southern border is Montana's problem.
They'll tell you it's Mexican meth, it's Mexican fentanyl, it's Mexican heroin that's coming across the southern border right into our state.
Daines took questions in his first sit-down interview in months about several issues, making it clear recent comments concerning Montana's homegrown meth labs he made while touring the southern border were misrepresented.
I was just speaking with one of our sheriffs just yesterday, and he said, "Steve, what you said was the truth." In the days of the meth labs, 20 years ago, you talk to our drug enforcement professionals, they'll tell you the purity rates are around like 30%. The problem we have is the purity rates now are over 90% with the Mexican meth. It's far more dangerous, far more addictive.
Daines just returned from Texas and touring the border, where he calls the situation there tragic. But now he's off on another trip, this time to eastern Montana, fighting to keep the Keystone Pipeline relevant.
Really the devastating impact of the cancellation of the Keystone Pipeline. I mean, this is a project that provides $80 million a year, every year, of tax revenue.
The 1,700-mile pipeline would span 6 states, including Montana, carrying oil from Canada to the Gulf Coast and bringing much environmental opposition.
What it does here in terms of a sound infrastructure project that we need that's entirely funded by the private sector. There's counties that need some help right now across our state. It's those eastern Montana counties.
And as President Biden unveils a $2 trillion infrastructure plan set to raise the business tax, Daines says he's ready to fight that too.
When they cut taxes, you put more money back into the economy, allow businesses to decide where they want to invest, and guess what? They create more jobs, wages goes up, we win. I'm very concerned about this idea that the president now wants to increase taxes.
However, Biden's transportation secretary says Americans making less than $400,000 a year won't see an increase. Still, Daines cautions the plan, saying it will incentivize jobs to move overseas. In Billings, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
And as we reported when it happened, Daines co-sponsored a letter with 4 other senators asking President Biden to support the Keystone Pipeline. He tells Andrea he's heard nothing from the administration since. Well, after disagreement, debate, and a 5-year review, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service recommends that grizzly bears in the lower 48 states retain their threatened species status. A press release states that progress has been made toward the bears' recovery, and the bears are now considered biologically recovered. However, federal wildlife managers say considerable challenges remain. Those include limited habitat connectivity, human-caused mortality, and uncertainty around future conservation efforts in some ecosystems. Well, if you have a teen who's looking to go into a field of engineering, technology, or even art, there's a new free service in town that lets the imagination go wild. Q2's Brandon Warren shows us how it's making the grade.
When you think of the Billings Public Library, the first thing you think of is books. But now, there's another free service being offered. Hoping to bring many benefits to the community, the library has opened up its 3D printers to local teens.
I'm hoping it just keeps people interested and again makes teenagers think about those kinds of STEAM and STEM fields to kind of build their artistic and scientific skills.
And they've made learning in new design software as simple as the click of a mouse.
The teen advisory group teenagers who I work with, they volunteer. They put together some instructions to walk you through some of the free software that's online.
You can find that free software at tinkercad.com and sketchup.com. With the printers having limitless design options, you can let your imagination go wild, creating items like you're seeing here. From figurines to pencil holders, and you may recall, this isn't the first time we've talked about these printers.
The librarian in this position before me actually used the 3D printers to print PPE for local health workers.
Don't worry if you're not a teen. Space is wide open as of now, so anyone can enjoy this 3D technology. Reporting from Billings, Brandon Warren, MTN News.
Thanks, Brandon. And if you'd like to submit designs to be printed, visit our website at ktvq.com. Up next on tonight's MTN 530 News on Q2, a Montana teacher looks to retire after teaching in the same one-room schoolhouse for 34 years, and she's doing it along with some major recognition.
Hi everybody, Scott Breen at MSU Billings, where Athletic Director Krista Montague is stepping down. We're one-on-one with her, coming up in sports.
Temperatures this afternoon were very close to typical for this time of the year, but very untypically warm weather will follow. We'll show you that with the forecast coming up.